to an easy cross-legged seated position. And finding your seat here. Tonight we're going to start with a breathing technique that is very calming, very equalizing and rebalancing, which can go really well to the end of the day, whatever your day was like. And it's called Samavriti in yoga in Sanskrit. And it's being translated many times by so many different translations in English, but one of them is square breathing or box breathing. And so that's where we're going to start tonight, right after settling in. So take the time first to find your seat again. And I'm saying all this about starting with breathing because I want you to be very comfortable on your seat. Find support underneath your sit bones, maybe elevate your hips a little bit. You can also practice if you're really tight into the hips and something is bothering you in your low back. You can also practice this with your legs forward, just in a plain 90-degree angle position of legs forward and torso up. And let's close the eyes a little bit and find the breath. Find that natural flow of breath that is yours. No judgment here. We're not regulating the breath yet, so just enjoying purely the sensation of your own breath and kind of making yourself comfortable and aware of how your breathing is going tonight. Maybe using the qualities of the exhale to maybe start lengthening the exhale a little bit more as you root yourself a little more stable on your seat. And you allow a softening of the back, a softening of the hips, and that allows the spine also to become a little more subtle and more open to movement for later on, but allowing that seat to be supportive through the contact with the floor and to be expansive and spacious through the breath coming in, releasing any kind of tensions as the breath goes out. Then starting hopefully to feel that connection between the breath and the body, noticing the movement of the breath in the body and how the body starts opening up to the movement and the awareness of the breath. So within the space where you become more present with breath and body, I suggest to always invite a sankalpa, an intention. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be the regular, like New Year's intentions, where you're really strongly imposing something to yourself. It's more of that more intuitive, deep heart desire that may arise and may fuel your practice today and in the following days or following weeks. And from this space, as your intention is set and planted, or maybe still forming, that's okay. I'm going to start that samavriti, that square or box breathing, equalizing breathing. And so this breathing consists of equal amount of inhale to an equal amount of breath retention, equal amount of exhale to equal amount of breath retention at the end of the exhale. So to make it easy and sweet and unforced, we'll start with a count of 4, and therefore we'll count 4 on the inhale, 4 holding the breath, 4 exhale, and 4 holding the breath on empty breath. And I'll guide you through those several rounds, and maybe eventually I'll let you play a little bit with your own breath. You might be tempted to change that formula and increase the number to longer inhale, longer retention, longer exhale, and longer hold on empty breath. So let's start with a deep breath in and a long breath out, just your regular breath. Remembering that even in the square breathing, you don't want to strain your breath. You make it as comfortable as possible so the body can soften and calibrate itself through it instead of stressing out. So we'll start inhaling 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Keep on going, following either this 4 count, breathing in, holding, breathing out, holding, or you may increase to 6 count or even 8 count progressively. Find your own rhythm. Whatever your count is, as you progress for a few more breaths, few more rounds, make sure again that you keep your body relaxed and you actually use the breath to relax a little deeper into the body, and maybe using this breathing, which requires attention and focus, to let go a little bit of your thought processes. Let's get into the last square. Last cycle, inhale, retention, exhale, retention. And when you finish that square, and take your time depending on how your breath is flowing now, then we'll all meet to coming back to our natural breath, letting go of retentions and letting go of counting. And we'll start gently waving the spine from side to side. And that waving of the spine comes from a deeply rooted hips. So you're not going anywhere from the base, you're waving from waistline up. And as the spine becomes a little more accessible, a little more flexible, then you also notice how your head has the ability to drop gently from one shoulder to the other shoulder. You pay close attention to relaxing your face and relaxing your jaw, so your head has absolutely no tension around and therefore can follow the movement of the spine and allow the cervical spine to be, again, more flexible, more accessible. And then we're going to slow down and narrow up. Find center, to place the hand in any position that is supportive of starting the rocking of the hips forward and back. Now focusing on the low spine, from hips, tailbone, pubic bone. And using the arms for support, especially when you're shifting forward. So you're keeping the torso high. So the movement is really coming from the pelvis and the waistline down. There's very mild rounding into the upper back, if any. So we're really working down here, building from the foundation up. Couple more rocks. And then we're gonna go into bringing that rocking throughout the whole spine. And now we're gonna go into the rounding and arching into the upper back, the opening of the shoulders back, stretching, opening the throat as you come forward, and rounding back, bringing the shoulders forward as you rock the hips back. Couple more. And last, coming back to center, finding spinal rolls. And sometimes I guide to go high and make them tiny here. Today maybe explore to getting deeper into the hips as you roll around and going lower to the ground, but still keeping your sit bones as planted as possible, and using again here your arms and your hands to support the movement of the spine, so you're not just relying on your back or your belly. And let's do one more in this direction. To now shift and go opposite direction. Roll around. You may have your eyes closed here because this is like a movement that is totally yours, that doesn't have a specific, even though if it's a circle, it doesn't have to be a specific measure of shape and form. And you really want to get into how your spine feels and how your hips feel. And that's totally unique to you. Last circle or two. And coming back to center, and you're gonna bring your left arm up and forward. Grab your left arm with your right hand, either at the wrist or a little higher on the arm, and pull that arm out slightly across to the right, stretching all the way to the back of the shoulder here. And then you're gonna swing that arm, still pulling it away up and down. Relax as it comes down and pull across and up and stretch. Inhaling and exhaling down. Inhale, pull away and up. And exhale. And one more. Breathe in. And exhale. Release that hand from the arm and lift the left arm out and up to the side as you ground your right hand and stretch out to the right. And breathe. Now find a little pause here. Nothing major, but you're using the right elbow as you bend it a little bit to reach further out through the left arm and the left side of the body. And then as you push from the right hand back up, you soften that stretch a little bit so you can come deeper into it when you're leaning over to the side and going back into the bending. One more. And then press and push back up and rise. Release your hands down, maybe shake your shoulders a little bit. And let's go to the other side. Grab your right wrist or a little further up on your right forearm with your left hand. Pull the arm across to the left a little bit and pull away. Feel the stretch into the right shoulder. Breathe here. Deep, long breath. And we're gonna pull up, stretch up, and then swing it across and down. Relax the pull as you come back to center, and then pull again across and up. Inhaling and exhaling down. And breathe in and across and up. And exhale. 2 more. Breathe in. Pull that arm, stretch up. Exhale, still pulling until the last stretch with your release. And last one. Inhale up. And exhaling down. Release that hand from the arm. Left hand down. Swing that right arm up and across. And lean over to the left. And let's start the gentle pumping here. Bending the elbow and stretching, pushing from the left hand up and bending from the elbow down. Inhale maybe as you lift away, and exhale as you go deeper into the side stretch. Couple more. Find your breath to lift you away from the stretch and go deeper as you exhale the breath out. One last. And gently push your way back up. Release your hands back to your knees. Pause here. Shake your shoulders out as needed. And breathe. Let's uncross the legs so you're releasing from your support here if you had a pillow like me. Opening your legs out to the side. Shake the legs out. And hands behind. Rotate the ankles with your legs not extremely wide out, but wider out than hip distance apart, as you can tell. And then reverse. And stop the rotation of the feet. Come to sit up. Flex your feet, bringing the toes, big toe and second toe aligning with the knee. And we're going to rotate and bounce gently from side to side into a forward fold on each leg. And this is a gentle, easy warm-up. We've done it several times in this class in the past few weeks. I really like this stretch to gently access the back of the leg, the hamstrings, and also warm up the twist around the waistline. So here what is important though, that you ground your legs down all the way to the sit bones, so that the spine and the pulling from one leg to the other leg can be nice and fluid because you're fully supported at the base. Usually what comes naturally is inhaling as you come back to center or as you come up from the leg and into center, and then the exhale goes naturally as you squeeze into the forward fold toward the leg. Few more here. Try also here, if you're not doing it yet, to keep your chin away from the chest, so you're kind of looking forward as you fold towards the foot instead of looking down toward the knee, which is a different move and a different stretch on the back. You're trying to keep the length here through the back. And let's go into the last round, one on each side. Coming back to center, inhale, arms up, clasp your fingers, rotate your palms up and stretch away. From here, we're gonna rotate out in one direction, pressing down into the legs. Nice and tall, pressing away into the palms of the hands. And we're gonna reverse, opposite direction, roll out to the other side, grounding into the sit bones, pressing through the back of the legs as you're flexing your feet. 2 more rolls. Back to center, releasing those arms out and back. Plant your hands behind you, either flat hands or fingertips, and roll the chest forward and up. Gently extend to the crown of the head back. Gently arching into the upper back as you roll the shoulder blades, roll the shoulders back, and breathe wide across the chest. One more breath where you feel the pull through the belly from the front of the hips to the lower ribs, lifting up. And as you exhale, start rounding up. Move your hands forward and fold forward in a rounded back. Couple breaths here. And pressing back up, bringing your legs back in together, shake them out a bit. And let's transition to all fours. I'll move this maybe a little closer. It looks like it looks really dark today. And then the same lights as usual. Okay, maybe that's going to be a little easier. So come to all fours, bringing your knees underneath your right above your hips and bringing your hands underneath the shoulders. And finding your all fours here. We're going to go into a few cat and cows. Cow gently arching up. And cat into full rounding of the spine. Inhaling. And exhaling. And through the years of practice, I've come to appreciate even more having a really strong action of the hands and the support of the knees and shins to the floor, so that the movement is not just relying on your spine here, but you're using your hands as if when you're arching the back, you were going to pull the chest forward and slide your hands back. And when I'm pushing and rounding up, I'm really pushing the floor away. And that creates even more arching and spreading between the shoulder blades. So play a little bit with the ability of the hands to create more movement into the spine. And then the knees are pressing down, straight down as I'm rounding up. And they're wanting to slide toward the hands as I'm arching forward. Last two. And last one, full round, full arch. And back to neutral, to bringing your right arm underneath. Let's start actually with the left arm so you can see me better at first. Even though you probably know this move really well, thread the needle. You're going to thread that left arm underneath the right. And here again, another tip is to find the spot that's far out to the right before you drop onto the shoulder, because then you can use the back of the left hand to pull into the back of the shoulder. So that left hand is pulling you forward toward the right, and you're pressing and opening the space between the back of the shoulder blade and the spine, and stretching that space really, really deep instead of just collapsing on the shoulder. Right hand is supporting here. You're pressing into the right hand to roll the right shoulder back and find a different angle here in the stretch that adds a twist. One or two more breaths here. Relax your face. Maybe move your head a little bit to make sure you're not tensing up the neck here. And then from here, I like challenging myself with a little balance. So make sure your right hand is firmly planted. You start shifting your weight to your left knee and shift the weight forward to the left shoulder. Maybe you slide your left cheek a little further forward, and you see if you can extend your right leg up. And here what helps to stabilize is flexing the foot, rotating the toes in, and breathe. Here, to be able to stabilize this pose pretty comfortably, there's an engagement of the belly. So you're pulling from Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor lock, into the low belly, into a natural down flow of Uddiyana Bandha towards the sternum. Deep, long breath here. And And then slow and easy, we're going to release that right leg first. Bending the knee, find the floor, shifting your weight even between right knee and left knee. Soften the pull of the left hand into the left shoulder, and then press into your right hand to lift up. Then unwind, stretching your left arm up. Maybe wiggle the fingers a little bit up into the air, and release the left hand down. Find all fours again. Maybe a little swing of the hips here to rebalance and recalibrate things out. And then we're going to slide that right arm behind the left hand and slide again. Go as far out to the side first, and then bring your shoulder down. You already have a pull here to behind the right shoulder blade, and it can be very intense. This stretch can be very intense when you go that far out with your right hand. So find your spot, don't overdo it. If your shoulders are really, really tight, then honor that space and make sure you're not going overboard. And take several breaths here to find that sense of relative ease, or maybe you're really comfortable here. You relax your face, your jaw, you're not struggling with that. And you find that leverage with your left hand, either to press less and allow your left shoulder to roll forward a little bit, or you press into your left hand and you allow the left shoulder to roll back. And now you not only have a stretch in the right shoulder, but you have a twist. And breathe. One more breath or two. And then find your weight shift, where you're shifting forward, sliding your head a little further forward. You're shifting your weight into that right shoulder. You start lifting your left knee. Find the point of support, the axis from the right knee to the right shoulder to the right side of the head. And we extend the left leg up, flexing the foot, turn the toes in. Start feeling the belly actively engaged in and up. Add to that consciously a mula bandha, and there you got it. Hopefully this balance feels a little more stable here. One more breath in the balance if you can hold it. And we're going to start the descent without collapsing. Just bend the left knee in and down, shifting your weight out to the left knee again. Soften into the stretch of the shoulder. Push into your left hand. Unwind. Reach up with your right hand, wiggling fingers. And release. Right hand down. Take a moment here to wiggle your shoulders and your hips from side to side. Back to center. Stretch your arms forward. Sit bones up. Drop as slow as you can into the armpits. Bring either your forehead down, if this is the first axis you have and your shoulders are super tight. If you can go a little lower, maybe you bring your chin down and chest gets really stretched out on the mat. Another thing that you can explore here is sliding your hands a little further forward and bring literally the chest down at the chin length. This is the big chest opener that also enhances the capacity of the lung to find more space. One more breath, and then slowly start lifting the back of the shoulders, shifting your hips forward, and going into what in yin yoga is a seal pose, because it's a little different from a cobra or a up dog where your hands are closer to the body. Your hands are further forward, straight arms, and then from here, instead of resisting and pushing up, you drop the sternum and you soften in the shoulders, and now you feel a stretch from the low ribs to the navel. One more breath, feeling the gentle compression of the spine in the back. reaching forward with the sternum, spreading the low rib cage out across the diaphragm. And then slowly lower down. Slide your hands in, framing the sides of the rib cage to push up. Big toes touch, and come back into child's pose. Child's pose can be in variations here. Either your arms are forward, elbows down, or you want an active child's pose with your arms stretching out and elbows up, forehead down. Or you completely relax the shoulders as you wrap your arms to the side body. And whichever of those options that you choose to be in, we're gonna add a little rocking from side to side, gently across the forehead. Kind of massaging the body through the movement of breath and the rocking from side to side. And back to center to stretch your arm forward if they're not there yet. Come up to all fours and curling the toes under, lift up to down dog. Take that lift like slow and easy, so you're not just like popping up into your down dog. Make it really slow motion. So you push through your ball of the feet, you lift your sit bones high up as your knees are still bent, and then you peel the back of the legs up and back. Then you think about lowering the heels down, but that's the bottom, that's the very last stage of it. And we're gonna lift the heels up, come to the ball of the feet, stretch the toes, and then lower the heels down, but trying to keep your sit bones as high as possible. Here, make sure that the action of the arms is strongly engaged, so you're pressing away from the wrist, through the base of the fingers, and through the fingers out. We keep on lifting and lowering the heels as I give you a few more tips to the engagement of the arms. Find the breath in and out. And think about lifting away from the floor your inner low arms. So again, you release the weight and the pressure on the wrist, and you create what is called hasta bandha, a lift to the inside of the palms, that kind of a dome, a suction effect that really engaging these hands and fire the arms all the way to the support of the shoulders. Let's go 2 more here. And last, full stretch, full lift. This time as your heels are up, you're gonna step forward with your left foot and bring the right knee down. Relax your back toes all the way to make connection and contact with the little toe to the floor. Left hand comes to the top of the left knee, and we're gonna reach forward with the right arm. Spread the fingers, palm is up. Rotating that palm in, facing to the left side, and then push and rise, keeping the length, tracing that line to the tip of the fingers up. Then push away and back. Bring your right arm a little further back, your ear, and then come forward again, lengthen out, and swing your arm across, tilt your head down, lift your little finger up and back. Inhale, reach forward. Push, lift up. Exhale, arm behind the ear if you can reach there. Inhale, forward. Exhale, swing back. Relax your head down. 2 more. Inhaling. Push away and back. Exhale. Feel the whole stretch from the front of the knee, front of the hip, into the armpit, through the arm. And then inhale. Exhale, swing back, drop the head. Inhale last. Coming forward and up. reach back, stretch and pull, and then find center, find that regular lunge. Release the left arm up, drop the shoulders down, and look up. Breathe into the right groin. Inhale, push away a little bit, find neutral. Exhale, release your hands down. Shifting the hips back on an inhale, transitioning, and then we're gonna forward fold on a flex foot to the front, onto the left leg, and breathe. Here I'm anchoring my heel and I'm pulling the sit bone back. I'm trying to reach as far back with the left sit bone as possible. One more breath. And then slowly transition forward. Plant your hands and step back into down dog. Walk your dog here. Your dog here, gentle and easy in your own way. Back to center, lifting up to the ball of the feet, the heels up, lift the sit bones high. Shift forward, right foot comes forward between the hands, closer to the right hand as you drop your left knee down, relaxing into your back toes. Find the connection again of the little toe with the ground so you have a natural inner rotation of the left hip and left thigh. And we're going to extend and reach with the left arm. Spread the fingers. Right hand comes to the top of the right knee. Push, lift, come up. Shift the hips back. Bring your left arm behind your left ear as back as you can. Feel the stretch through the left thigh. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, swing your arm back, drop your head down. Inhale, swing forward, reach, lift up, exhale, pull back. Inhale, keep the length forward. Exhale, swing back, head down. Breathe in. Full circle, breathe out, reach back. Inhale. Exhale. Two more, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Reach back, drop the head. And last one, pressing into that front foot to reach, extend up, bring it back. Come back in as you inhale. And exhale, swing back, drop your head. And let's go to the regular lunge. Left arm up. Shift the hips a little bit back so you square and squeeze the inner thighs, arm up, and open. Open gently from the upper back. Arms are long and straight, not completely locked, but they're reaching up to the fingertips. You look up. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, lowering down. Shift back as you inhale. And exhale, fold into that flex foot, extending and reaching into the right leg. And even here, you can find a gentle pulse. So the inhale might take you away. You feel that inflating effect through the back body. Kind of a rounding, a spreading between the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, all that releases and folds naturally through its own weight. One more breath here. And press away, shift forward, plant your hands, and step back into down dog. Walk your dog, do anything that feels good to kind of relax a little bit into the legs, stretch things out, recalibrate things out. Come back to center, find your full down dog here. Bring your feet maybe a little closer in, not to touch the big toes, but a little closer than hip distance apart, so that you can shift your weight to your left foot and still be very much balanced here between the hands and the back foot. And then lift the right leg up. Bend the knee, drop the foot. A lot of time I see students kind of tensing up into opening here and tensing into the leg. So instead of that, bend the knee and literally drop the right foot toward the butt cheek. And then once that connection is made, that the foot is completely relaxed, then you're opening the inner thigh to open the hip. So therefore the knee opens back. And you feel the pull and stretch on the belly. And then you're going to rotate in and swing that right knee in front of the left. Squeeze in. And then inhale, open. Keep the right foot relaxed. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, transition. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, open out and up. Exhale, open the hip. And last, swing across. And come back to neutral. Right foot down, full down dog. And let's switch. Shift your weight to your right foot. Lift your left leg up. Drop the knee to the butt cheeks. Not the knee, the foot. The knee, that would be a little hard. That would be completely abnormal, right? So drop the foot to the butt cheek. Find that relaxation around the foot and the lower leg. And then think about opening the left inner thigh out and up. And that way you're rotating the hip, the knees opening, you feel the stretch on the belly. And we're going to start that movement. Inhaling, rotating in. Exhaling, bringing the knee to the front of the right knee and across, twist under. Inhale, start opening. Exhale, open the hip to the max. Inhale, transition. Exhale, bring the knee in front of the right and across a little bit more. And inhale, rotate, open. And exhale, open the hip. And last one, rotate in. Swing and cross over to the right. Inhale, rotate. And exhale, open for that last stretch. And we're going to release that left foot down. Come forward to your knees. And shift back to child's pose. Open your knees a little wider out. Relax. Here, maybe take a moment to press onto the front of the hands. So you're flipping one palm up and press gently. And then release that hand and flip the other hand up and stretch through the front of the wrist. And then release out and relax your head down. Give a little swing to hips across the forehead. And back to center, back to neutral. Bringing your arms forward. Come up to all fours. Bringing knees into hip distance apart. Scroll the toes under. Press back. Sit bones to heels. And then walk in and round in. And here we're gonna go into rabbit. And so for rabbit, be very mindful for your neck. To me, this is a really challenging pose actually, because my neck tends to be tight all the time. So you're trying to get as close in, and that's why I'm coming to the ball of the feet. For me, rabbit is easier here, but you can also do it here. So here I'm showing it with the heels up. You fold in really close in, trying to bring the crown of the head down, and then reach back to your heels. Get a good grip of the heels and start rolling forward and stretching really deep in between the shoulder blades. And make sure that the weight stays onto the knees and the feet. You're not wanting to over press onto the head. Take 1 or 2 more breaths here. And releasing gently back. Hands frame the knees. Lift up. And round back like a ball. Shift back, lifting the knees, dropping the heels down. Feet are about hip distance apart. Drop your head between your knees and find the support of your thigh with your torso, with your chest. To really feel supported, your back is supported and you're rounding completely in, head down. Pressing down into your heels, start lifting the sit bones up. Find a forward fold to the back of your mat. Once you're there, grab opposite elbows and add that extra weight of the arms pulling down, the spine pulling down, the head is heavy. You can dangle a little bit, like moving your arms forward and back, kind of a pendulum movement here. And then come back to center and start gently moving from side to side. Swinging the arms and the spine from right to left and left to right. And maybe instead of just a straight line from foot to foot across, you can start having half a circle where your elbows and arms are swinging from side to side in half a circle, from right to left. Several options here. You take whichever one makes sense to you tonight and feels right. And slow down your pendulum. Come back to center. Bend the knees. Walk your hands out. Find the floor all the way down. Extend in what we call prostration pose with your arms forward, your forehead down, your palms down, and give it a gentle pull here forward as you reach back with your feet. So you're stretching your body nice and long. Releasing the pull, lift your head, walk your elbows in. Come into a Sphinx pose, elbows underneath the shoulders. And we're going to bring the left arm, the left hand across toward the right. Doesn't have to go all the way to the elbow, it can be midway to the forearm to find a nice surface of support here for the upper body. And then kick your right foot up. Grab that right foot with your right hand. Try to reach to the front of the toes and the front of the foot. And we're going to press straight into the mid part of the butt cheek. And as you can tell, my elbow is up, so I'm not relaxing here to the side in an awkward movement of the hip, the shoulder. The shoulder is open, and I'm using my elbow as I'm bending the elbow up to press my foot down. And breathe. Breathe into the quad. You might feel the stretch here all the way to the front of the right hip, into the groin. A breath or two here. And then we're going to go opposite direction, opposite effect. You're going to kick the foot into the hand and back, straighten the arm. You can reposition the hand to the front of the foot or the front of the ankle, hand to the outside. Or if you want a deeper stretch into the shoulder, you can move your hand to the inside of the foot. So up to you. My choice today is the outside because my shoulder is not wanting to go too deep in the stretch. And you're going to kick the foot back. Press the thigh down, lift the chest up. Here you can use your front arm to push the floor away. I'm pressing the back foot, the left foot down into the floor, and extend the sternum forward. And breathe. Now here, if you feel very adventurous tonight, you can lift your left leg a little up the floor, but nice and strong. And you can extend your left arm forward and you kick still into the right hand and right foot. One more breath. And bring your left arm back down. Find the support, let your left leg down. Push up. And now we're going to switch and bring the hand to the inside of the foot. So we can open the foot out to the side and press to the outside of the hip. And breathe. And here too, I'm using my hand on top of the foot. That's a lot more efficient than trying to pull it from the side and not finding the right weight here. And on top of that, in this position, you're still working your right shoulder, which is a nice bonus. And breathe. One more breath here. And then soften the pull. Release. Bring both hands down into Sphinx. Extend your right leg back. Turn the toes in a little bit. Heels out. And then press pubic bone down, front of the thighs, and stretch the spine forward to bring everything back to balance. And let's go to the other side. This time you're going to bring your right hand in, either mid forearm or aligning with your left elbow, whichever gives you a better support. And then kick your left foot up. Grab the foot. Try to bring the hand to the front of the foot or even the front of the ankle. And press the heel into the mid glute. Straight in. Feel this access to the quad. Nice long breath. Press in just a little bit more without completely collapsing in the front. Lift up just enough to keep the length and the stretch through the front body a little bit. And now we're going to go and reverse this action into grabbing the foot maybe a little differently and start kicking the foot back. Press the thigh down and lift and push away the floor from your right arm. Lift up, expand, feel the belly stretch forward. Take one more breath here and then either stay here or you may challenge yourself to lifting the right leg up and stretching the right arm forward. Still the action in the left leg. I like also here to engage my right leg to spread the toes out. Slide your right arm back in. Land your right leg. Push up a little bit. And then switch. You're going to relax that foot in. Switch the position of your left hand to the inside of the foot. Open the foot out to the side. And press that foot down to the outer hip. And breathe. Couple more breaths here, nice and deep. And soften the pressure from the foot, let it bounce back. Release the foot. Bring both arms forward to parallel. Find your Sphinx. Rotate the toes in a little bit, heels out. And lift and stretch forward, balancing things out. Gently lower down. Slide your hands to frame the chest. Push up to all fours. Open the knees wide out. And come back to child's pose. So this child's pose should feel really juicy here. You should have a lot of sensations on your low back. If you don't have them, that's great too. In my case, I do have them. Relax your head down. And again, you can give it a little movement from side to side. Soften things out into the back muscles. And back to center, to stillness for 1 or 2 more breaths in full child's pose. Press gently away. Find your way to all fours, coming forward, bringing knees hip distance apart again. And we're going to go into pigeon, sliding the right knee forward, close to the right hand, opening the foot to whichever distance that is your pigeon. And then from here, once the front leg is anchored, I personally like using my back leg, scrolling the toes under, and then sliding that left leg back as far as I can. It's almost like I'm getting into a half split in my pigeon, so that my pigeon is not restricted here and up. I'm really finding space with the help of the back foot to take me into another level of pigeon here. And then I like also, once my foot is anchored in the back, still there, still engaged with the ball of the foot pressing down, I give a little swing to the hips from side to side, so that I can really find a spot of landing that is comfortable, not only to hold, but that is giving me an access to a stretch that is sustainable, right? And then relax your back toes finally. And now you can find your way forward, finding length first. You lift side by side. You find a little more pull from the tip of the hips to the lower ribs. And from there, you expand your way out. And you finally land into your half pigeon. And we're going to stay here for a while, so just make yourself comfortable and at ease in your pigeon. If you have a lot of tension in the hip, work with it. Just keep on breathing deeper and deeper and smoother and longer into whatever resistance you're finding in your hip. Because your hips are such a strong emotional hoarder. We tend to repress emotions and things we don't want to address into the hips, and they can hide really deep into the hip joint. And so holding half pigeon can be challenging, not only physically, but you start churning those things, like feeling discomfort sometimes like in your belly, and feeling like a little bit emotional, and some people even cry sometimes in half pigeon, which is totally fine, right? So anyways, that's why also holding the pigeon for long, to allowing to tap in those deeper layers of shit that we're holding on, can be highly, highly beneficial. And I believe that in the times we're in right now, with so much uncertainty and a mix between fear and wonder and who knows what, that can bring a lot of things back to the surface. So letting it go and letting it come out instead of keeping on shoveling in can be highly healing, highly freeing in so many ways. So let's stay here for several rounds of breath. I'll let you be a little bit in your silence and in your stillness. Another insight about pigeon, especially if you have a lot of resistance in your hip, then focus on other parts of the body that don't need to be tensed up and do tense up when they feel resistance in the hips. So consciously relax your back leg a little deeper, all the way to the toes. Relax your arms, relax and soften your face, and try to find those different spots in the body away from the hip that are tensing up, and intentionally relax those areas. Just drop a little lower. And then once that is done, come back to the hip and establish some sort of a friendly, kind, and loving conversation with your hip. Taking several full, deep breath into the hip. Let's take that last deep, long breath in and out into the right hip joint. And then we're going to start finding our way up. No rush here, even though you might be like, oh, finally we're releasing, but go slow. Find the axis of floor with your hands. Find that support. Start walking your hands in and push slowly your way up and out of the pose. Then we're going to press even deeper into the hands and start lifting your hips away from the stretch, sliding your right leg back. Find a little wiggle of the hips here, or even if that feels appealing to you, you can scroll your toes and lift up into a down dog. And down dog after pigeon feels really, really good. It brings back spaciousness and release. And let's go to the other side, dropping the knees down. We slide the left knee forward, close to the left hand. Then here, up to you. Either you move the foot far up if your hips are allowing. My hips don't do that. So I keep my foot close to the right hip so that everything is safe for my left knee. And then from here again, scroll the toes under and see if that sliding of the right knee back through the action of the back leg helps you find a little more space. Find a landing in that space. Your right leg is inner rotating, right? So you're trying to square the hips to the front and get as low as possible and as even as possible from right to left. Then you can drop that right knee down. You can wiggle a little bit from side to side before you do that, actually. Before you release your back foot, your knee can be down, but you keep your foot engaged. And then you find that spot, that ideal spot where you're going to take your pigeon from. You relax your back toes. And then you find space in the torso. You pull that torso up and away, grounding into the hips, but lifting the ribs away from the hips. And walk your way out. And land and ground. You make one, add a little cushion to your forehead. Either you have a block and you can place your block. I like a lot actually doing that, having a support for my forehead so my chest can really drop and relax. If that's not available to you today, right now, I don't want you to leave your pigeon to go grab something, but you can also stack your hands on top of each other and make therefore a little pillow for your forehead. And have that same sense that the space between the chest and the floor in which you can drop a little softer. And I personally feel that doing it that way also, if you elevate your forehead and the chest and the sternum are dropping straight down from here, there's also more weight in the hips compared to forehead down, which shift the weight forward onto your forehead. If your forehead is leveled to your hips, then you can really bring extra weight into the hips from gravity to the midpoint of the sacrum, down into the pubic bone, straight across the hips, to the front of the hips. And relax as much as you can here. Again, you can start scanning your body and checking for areas that you can consciously relax, that you have access to. For example, the back toes, you can move, shake your toes a little bit, wiggle your toes, and then relax them back down and get that sense that now they're completely relaxed. They're not holding on anything. And the same with other areas. Again, you can leverage with how your arms are supporting you and see if you can soften into it a little bit, soften into the shoulders. Make your breath deeper into the belly and soften deeper into the belly. So find those different spots all the way onto your face and jaw that bring a lot of softening and surrender throughout the body, and just to bring the tension or the stretch into the hip. Last deep breath into the belly. And then we're starting that ascension away from the floor, finding your grounding through your hands, finding your support and slowly rising, walking back in towards the knee. And then shifting the hips away from the floor, pulling up and sliding that left leg back. We've stayed here for a while, so it might be a little achy as you release. And then again, either you go into child's pose, that would be totally fine, a good way to unwind from pigeon, or you can lift up into your last down dog for tonight. Push and stretch. See if you've gained a little more access to your hamstrings. See if you're able to roll your hips under a little more and lift your sit bones a little higher compared to your first down dog tonight, if there's any recall from it, recollection. And from here, we're going to find the floor and shift the legs forward. And coming to the edge of our mats, we're going to lay down, find the floor for full support of the body. We're not in Shavasana quite yet. We still have a little bit to go, but get that first feel of really feeling supported and feeling that things can naturally melt into the floor instead of resisting. And from here, we're going to bend the left knee up and plant the left foot flat in alignment with the left sit bone, not close in. We're not preparing for a bridge here, but keep that alignment that your foot is not far out, neither too close in. And we're going to flex the right foot and extend through the back of the right heel. Maybe you poke your shoulders up a little bit to slide your shoulder blades under and away from the ears. Maybe you reposition also your neck by tilting your chin in a little bit. You find that spot there. Arms are to the side of the body, palms facing down. And we're going to press into the left foot. Keep on extending and reaching through the right leg and lift that right leg up. Inhaling. And exhaling with that same active leg, lengthening forward and down. Inhale, lift. Pressing firmly down into the left foot, making that right leg a little lighter. And exhale, slowly lower. So you're finding the very length of each breath in and out to give movement to the leg. So you slightly start the inhale before you lift the leg up. So your breath becomes an elevator, and exhaling, same concept. The exhale is taking the leg down, not in collapsing, but in graceful movement. And let's do it a few more times, finding your own breath, your own rhythm here. Going as slow as the breath can be long and deep. You may invite here an ujjayi breath with a slight constriction to the back of the throat to add some more warmth to this movement. Each time that you're lowering down, more especially than on the inhale, think about lengthening the leg all the way to bringing it back down to the floor. And last one, we're going to bring the leg up. And this time stay here and grab behind your leg. If your leg is really tight, your hamstring is screaming at you and you have a hard time even keeping the leg up, then you grab low down, low to the, close to the glute. If you're able to bring your leg a little closer to your chest, you move up. You avoid having your hands right behind your knee because that would make the knee bend. So then your next stage will be past the knee and move to whichever degree that keeps the shoulder down. My shoulder are not lifting. If I'm starting doing this, then I'm losing really the intention of this stretch. Keep the shoulders down and you align your hands accordingly. And here, I want you to think about rolling your hips forward, meaning that you're trying to tilt the tailbone down and ground it down, and you have a slight sensation of arching, even if there's no an arching here, but a sensation of arching instead of lifting and rolling the tailbone up just to bring the leg closer in and having the whole spine flat on the floor. So get that access of pressing. And as you do that, you're going to feel immediately the stretch going more intensely into the hamstring all the way to the butt. Take a couple breaths here. And then soften that action of the rolling the tailbone forward. Let it do whatever it wants to do. Soften the right foot and bending the knee, grab the front of the shin or the front of the knee with your hands and squeeze the knee in. You can squeeze it straight toward the center of the chest, not the whole center, but into the right side of the chest, or out to the side of the chest, to the side of the rib cage toward the armpit, whatever feels right. And we're going to release that right foot down. Find your feet to parallel, maybe give a little movement of the hips, shake them a little bit from side to side and across the low back. And let's go to the other side. Plant your right foot down. And extend your left leg forward, flexing the foot. Find that first access of pressing the back of the left leg down. Your left toes are rotating in a little bit, so you're not rotating the leg out. You keep it rotating gently in, which activate the inner thigh here. You reposition your shoulders if needed, your chin. Make sure your chin is not rolling back and you're not, you're not extending the neck back. Your neck is long to the back because the chin is in. And then press into the right foot and lift the left leg up. Inhaling. And exhale, lengthen out and down. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, reach out and down, pressing firmly down into the right foot. Giving a little lightness here to the left leg to lift up on the inhale. And exhaling, lowering, slow, long, and easy. And let's go for another 3 or 4. Find your rhythm. Feel the left side of the belly activating strongly here. You can even use your hand to feel it. Gently resting your hand on the left side of the belly and feel where the movement goes. It can be quite fascinating to see and to touch the muscles engaging and de-engaging. And one more. Inhale, lift up. This time hold here. Clasp your hands behind the left leg to whichever level makes your shoulders down and gives you a little pull on the stretch of the leg. Position yourself wherever that's right for you tonight. And again, think about rolling your hips slightly forward. You're not going to be able to completely arch. That's not either what you're aiming to, but find that little tension here instead of just again pressing the low back and the spine all the way flat to the floor. Obviously, if you were to do that, your leg would be able to
come in a little closer. But here what I want you to stretch is really into that hamstring. And so when you're tilting the hips forward again, you'll feel it. You'll feel that access quite differently than when you're just relaxing your back. Ground the shoulders down, chin in, relax your face, feel the shaking of your left leg if that's what's happening into your leg. Take one more breath here. And then start relaxing from the action of the low back first. Let the sacrum drop to the floor. Relax your left foot and start bending the knee in. Grab the front of the knee or the front of the shin and stretch towards you, either straight towards your left nipple or opening out to the side of the rib cage, whichever stretch you want to get into tonight. And releasing that left leg and left foot back down. Now we're going to slide the feet behind the sit bones to find a bridge pose. Squeeze the shoulder blades under, start popping the chest up and finding that arching in the upper back. And then press into the feet, engage your legs strongly to lift the hips. And once you find your bridge, think about lengthening the front body. So slide the front of the knees forward and ground back into the shoulders and find that full lengthening through the front body. From here, another thing that can help too is pressing onto the upper arms to the elbows as you bring your arms up, palms parallel to each other, and you're pressing into the upper arms to lift a little higher. So now you're accessing 2 points to lift your bridge, the feet and the legs and the arms. One last breath here. And we're going to slowly release and squeeze the shoulders, roll the spine down, land. And once you've landed, fold both knees into your chest, hold on the knees, and you may rock your body from side to side. Let's finish practice tonight with an inversion to kind of flush away any kind of accumulation of ruminating thoughts in your head, to bring oxygen to your brain, to also bring some good energy and oxygen to all the glands around your head, from the thyroid gland, the pituitary gland, and what is the other one? The pineal gland. Come back to center. So here, if you have either a pillow, a folded blanket, anything that you could use for support on your low back, you could go into Viparita Karani, legs up and low back grounded, and here, which is a very nice pose to hold here. If you have a regular shoulder stand practice, I like personally to go in shoulder stand from a rolling of the spine forward and back a few times. And that makes me find that momentum to naturally anchor myself into the shoulders and lift up. And if none of this two is the right one for you today, you can simply go into legs up and back on the floor, 90-degree angle with the legs, and just hold here for a bit. You still have all the benefits of the inversion here. So pick which one is yours tonight. And we're going to stay here for a few rounds of breath. Some traditional yogic text mention that it takes a minimum of 8 breaths in any position to start really reaping all the benefits of the pose. So let's try to hold it for those 8 full breaths, if that's feasible, available, doable, manageable for you tonight. And if you feel really comfortable here and you're going past the 8 breath, that's good too. You can stay a little longer. I won't rush you out of it. Just enjoy the inversion, giving a break for the legs that usually are in the absolute opposite position of bearing the weight of the body, the weight of gravity. If you're sitting at a chair for long hours during the day, there's a restriction of blood circulation through your legs because you're in that seated position on a chair that is not beneficial at all for your legs. So finally the legs get sometimes for a breather, for the blood flow to go naturally down toward the heart instead of the heart pumping up. And from that heart access, you feel that fresh blood going down into your head. And you may notice here the sensation of having this added pressure around the head through the inversion. And just enjoying that subtle pulse of the blood throughout the head that increases a little bit the heat and the sense of pressure. Hopefully none of you are congested, because sometimes the inversion can add also a little extra pressure to the sinuses, and in that case it doesn't feel that good. So hopefully you're all clear. And this is an opportunity also, whether you're in shoulder stand or legs elevated up with the low back supported, with which adds a little pressure here to around the shoulders, to feel that access of full support, full weight into the back of the shoulders. And now the belly can relax, the low back can relax, and you have access to feeling and experiencing that soft belly rise and fall through the breath in and the breath out. That is extremely calming. Inversions are great to oxygenate those upper parts of the body, as I mentioned, but they're also can be very grounding and very cooling in essence. Take a couple more breaths here. The last 2 breaths, I didn't do any count. We're probably way past the 8th breath, but if you're comfortable for 1 or 2 more breaths, let's do that together. And then start transitioning. So if you're in shoulder stand, full shoulder stand, you might feel good about transitioning through plow pose, bringing your legs back. Or directly, you might bend your knees towards your forehead. That's another good exit. And if you're in supported back, legs up like I am, you can bend your knees towards your chest. And so you would do if your legs are up and your back is flat on your mat. And we release the feet down. If you have a support on your low back, lift your hips to release it. And let's come back all flat on the mat. Now we're extending the legs out to the front. If you need to do a little twist here, I didn't include the twist here because we're already like past the time. But if you feel that you need your twist from side to side, you can do that. Or you can also simply, let's bend the knees up, feet wide apart, and give a little swing. That feels always good here to rebalance things out, to bring everything back into place and shape before we go into Shavasana. And now we may be ready to extend the legs out to mat distance apart, and then bring the arms to a nice distance to the side of the body, palms facing up or down, whichever feels right to you tonight, even though I highly suggest palms up because that naturally opens the front of the shoulders back. And close the eyes and just drop the full body down, drop the head. Drop the thoughts, drop the agenda, drop everything down. And find that place where you completely allowed to do nothing, to completely let go, to completely relax. And we barely ever take that opportunity throughout the day until we crash in bed. But giving yourself permission and honoring the space of relaxation, of simply being, of letting go of the doing, is so empowering and recharging. Like creating your little oasis, your little spa, your mini vacation of letting go of the hurdle and the go of daily life. And that space opens an opportunity to tap in, to check in with how you're feeling, how you're breathing, what's your relationship to the floor under you, what's your relationship with the openness of the space above you, and finding peace, calm, and surrender between those two waters, the above and the below. Start bringing yourself back into the body, back into your breath. Reconnecting from the body and breath with your surroundings, with the ground under. Maybe inviting a little bit of movement through your feet and your hands or anywhere else that you feel like moving. When you're ready to do so, you can bend your knees up and grab your knees and give yourself a few rocks from side to side. Enjoying the rocking as you awaken your back, you massage your back muscles all the way to the shoulders, all the way to the rocking of the head from side to side. Find a side to land on and pause in fetal position just for a bit here with your eyes still closed. Find your access to the floor through any part of your body that is in contact with the floor and that has the ability to push you away from the floor, hands or elbow or both. And then push slowly, rise. Take your time to rise, keeping your eyes closed. To find eventually any comfortable seated position. I'm not even engaging into asking you to cross leg. You just find the right position
to land and rise from. And with your eyes still closed, take a moment here to fully bring your body back all together into vertical plane, into extending up to the crown of the head and rooting down into your sit bones. And joining hands together in front of the heart, we'll chant our closing Om. Take a deep inhale. Namaste.